Hello and welcome to episode 216 of the Mark and Me podcast. As always, I'm your host Mark. Now coming up on today's episode is the third in a 4-part series celebrating my time at the amazing 2000trees Music Festival. Over these 4 specials, I've conducted interviews with 12 different bands. It's been a lot of work, but it's been so much fun, and I really do believe that there's something for everyone. If you haven't listened to the 2 previous specials, please do, because on the first one I was joined by Can't Swim, Foxjaw and Stick to Your Guns. On the last episode I was joined by Superlove, Orchards and the absolutely amazing Holding Absence. And on today's episode I have 3 brand new interviews for you all. I'm joined by Nervus, Jen and the Degenerates and the incredible Boston Manor. These interviews are so good, and I really do believe they show the atmosphere, the passion, and just being at the festival. The whole vibe is there, and I really think it comes across on these face-to-face interviews, and I'm so proud of them. So I think the best thing to do is to get straight to the first interview. I'm joined by the amazing Em Foster from Watford's incredible band Nervus, and this was the first time I discovered this band at this festival, and that's some of the best things to do at a festival. Find brand new bands that you fall in love with, and then you spend the next week absolutely obsessed listening to loads of new music. But honestly, Em is absolutely fantastic from the start. So here's me and Em from Nervus talking all things 2000trees. Em, thank you for joining me today on the Mark and Me podcast.
Thanks for having me.
As we sit here right now, I'm not just going to say this, the sun has come out, it's absolutely glorious. Did you, for one moment, think there might be a point that you never play a show again after 2 years of this being delayed, people going crazy and not doing music anymore? Does it feel like a dream that we're actually sat here now?
It does, actually. There were several points, I think, during lockdown that I thought, I don't know when this is going to happen, or whether, the band is going to survive beyond this, or how our lives will change in that period. So it's amazing to be back and playing shows again.
What I want to do today as well for the listeners out there is take it right back to the start, and I do this with all the musicians that come on, but tell me about that first record that you remember buying, maybe with your pocket money, that made you think, I want to be in a band, like this is what I want to do.
I actually think it was a band called Captain Everything, and the record was called It's Not Rocket Science, and I got it from a place called CD Warehouse in Watford, and it was a CD, and I listened to it on my CD Walkman, and they were a band that were from Watford as well, and so I got to see them locally a bunch of times. But I think listening to that band and seeing them play, I was, it was attainable. Playing shows like that, just like punk shows to small rooms for the people who care about your music, I was like, I can see how this might actually work. And I think listening to that and growing up around those shows in community centres and those kind of local halls, it was something that you could do. It wasn't I think a lot of people, depending on what kind of music you play, I think if you're exposed to huge concerts or whatever, it's not an attainable thing to start doing. But watching Captain Everything, a local punk band play in a local youth centre, I was like, I can do that. So yeah, I think It's Not Rocket Science by Captain Everything would probably be that record.
And something I've asked everyone that's been at the festival today is about the experience of your first gig, because we all love CDs, we all remember buying those albums and falling in love. But until you see a band live, that's when you really appreciate how much work and effort goes into a performance. What was that first gig that you're proud of? You can admit it if it isn't a cool band. My first was Cooler Shaker, but it's not cool.
My first gig was Robbie Williams at the Docklands Arena in 2000.
Be honest, I bet that was incredible for the experience.
It was absolutely amazing. I loved it. I got a sleeveless shirt that had the Robbie Williams logo. It was like a black one. It had the RW Robbie Williams logo in glitter, and underneath it said London, New York, Paris, Knutsford, which is where he's from, in Manchester.
I love it.
So yeah, that was my first gig. I was like, this is the best thing in the world, and I love it.
That's a hell of a foundation, isn't it, to start on? Because he From the moment he walks on, even if you don't like the music, he's got you in his hand. He's got the whole crowd in his hand.
I will level with you. Robbie Williams is the actual best. Like, you listen to those first couple of records, like Live Through a Lens and I've Been Expecting You, and the songs on those records are so good.
Love Supreme is epic.
Yes, that's
Absolutely
Sing When You're
epic.
Winning. That's
Unbelievable.
Yeah, no,
That's how to write a chorus.
I am actually quite a big Robbie Williams fan. So
let's just do a Robbie Williams podcast. Do you know what I mean? No one else is going to expect this at 2000 Trees.
Not
but
at all.
That is a hell of a tune.
Yeah, and even then, like, you think like the kind of, I don't know, I think that was an exposure to rock music in itself. If you listen to like Live Through a Lens and I've Been Expecting You specifically, there are tunes on that have like such massive rock influence. Like,
They do, and he had a band with him, like an indie band. I remember him being on the scene in Enemy, and he was kind of not wanting to be associated with Take That and be taken seriously. So he had a live band with guitars and distortion, and he was like, "Fucking, let's do this."
That's it. He was doing Brit rock, and even like I'll say this now, Karma Killer off of I've Been Expecting You was like a massive influence on one Nervus song off our first record, like with the orchestration towards the end of it, and like.
People are listening
also,
now going, really?
Also,
what?
the lyrics of Karma Killer being like a really like bitter, horrible breakup song. I also took some inspiration for that for Oh Joy, which is the first song off our first record. So, yeah.
This is the
And
National Robbie Williams podcast.
I have a tattoo there on my...
Tattoo?
Yeah, I've got a Robbie Williams tattoo that says Win Some, Lose Some, which is from I've Been Expecting You. So
this is a genuine biggest fan moment ever. I did not think we'd be doing this.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know where to go from that. So tell me about, how did Take That breakup affect you? No.
Well, it didn't. I didn't really know who Take That
that's
were.
That's fair, yeah. We're here at 2000 Trees, and does it feel unbelievable that you're gigging again? Because for 2 years, the thing you do, the thing you breathe, the thing you live for was taken away from you, and it must feel like there was a moment it was never going to happen.
Yeah, I think like a lot of people... like not just me went through it, in terms of like people who've put their life into making music, probably had a bit of a moment where they were like, what am I going to do now? And so I started driving a van for Iceland and was like, this is fine, delivering food, but I'm experienced at driving vans because obviously I'm in a band and I tour, but yeah, I think it did seem like I think when we were in it, in the real thick of it, I don't think there was much of an end in sight, and like obviously it's still very much happening now, but it feels amazing to be able to get back into spaces with like-minded people and play music and share that experience with each other again, and I'm so glad that we can still and have the support to do it to be able to come and play a festival like this.
It's my first 2000 Trees, and it feels like one big family. I'm not just saying this. I genuinely believe that everyone here loves everybody. There's no attitude, and everyone's just here for the same reason. Live music and just being allowed to live again.
Yeah, I think so. And that's what I loved about 2000 Trees before even the pandemic, was just that it's community focused. Like, the people who are here to watch music, and you get to hang out with people in bands that you've known for however long, or meet people in bands that you don't know, and all that kind of stuff that you kind of definitely take for granted, I think, sometimes.
Do you look at the lineup poster and kind of pinch yourself when you see bands like Thrice and Jimmy Eat World and all these incredible bands go, fuck yeah, we're on that poster, like this is going to be framed on my wall forever?
Absolutely. I just met Jim, who I think you just spoke to, but I just met Jim, and like Jimmy Eat World are literally one of my favourite bands from that whole scene. Like, they have the best songs. That, like, the songwriting is absolutely impeccable, and to be able to share a stage with them on a festival like this is like, it's the kind of thing where you'd say, oh, if 14-year-old me would have known this, but actually 33-year-old me is still just as stoked as 14-year-old me would have been. So
I had to try and remain cool and so in control then, but I was like, you wrote Clarity, you wrote Bleed American, like my favourite albums. Jimmy Eat World are genuinely one of my favourite bands. They're the reason I want to play a guitar, and I've just sat there and been like, fucking hell, like, pinch me.
Yeah.
So to share the stage, you must be like, this is everything.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best. And don't take it for granted at all. Like,
Never.
It's so cool to be able to watch them play later.
It's going to be amazing. And are you looking forward to any other bands on the bill that, maybe the bands that not everyone knows? Are there people that you're check these out?
I'm looking forward to seeing Cheerbleeders. I'm looking forward to seeing Creeper. I'm looking forward to seeing Anti-Flag.
Anti-Flag is going to be unreal.
Oh, it's going to be great fun. Like they're sort of old friends as well from before pandemic, and so it's nice to be able to catch up with them and watch them play live. But yeah, I'd say tonight my things are Cheerbleeders, Anti-Flag, Creeper, and Jimmy Eat World.
Oh my god, I'm sitting here going, oh shit, that's tonight.
Yeah, that's tonight.
It's incredible. And then we've got Thrice tomorrow, and it's going to be beautiful.
It's going to be amazing. Oh, and tomorrow I'm going to go and watch Turnstile.
Oh, Turnstile and Thrice back to back.
I'm going to do a big flip. Or I'm going to try.
God, it's going to be amazing. Dude, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast, but I've got one more question. I'm going to put you on the spot. Everyone that comes on the podcast, I ask the same question. It's to choose the outro piece of music to today's episode. So once me and you have had this interview, it's all edited, it's all wrapped up, and the world gets to hear it.
Yep.
What is the one song that means so much to you that would be the perfect outro song? It might be Robbie Williams after we've talked about it.
You know what
today.
it is.
Yeah,
it's going to be.
I wasn't surprised. I can't act shocked.
No, I reckon it's got to be Karma Killer by Robbie Williams, actually.
And is there any more meaning apart from what you've said today that justifies it being the outro song?
Yeah, it's absolutely massive.
That's all.
And
you need
also
to do.
Robbie Williams yelling, "Look what you didn't take from me," is just like the best thing in the world. There you go.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I have absolutely loved this, and it went completely different to how I imagined. So thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you for having me. Cheers.
How do you breathe? Why don't you cry? How come you never ask me why? You're not a man, stand and deliver. Karma killer. How do you sleep? You never loved. Why was I never good enough?
So there's my first interview with me and Em from the amazing Nervus. One of the best live performances of the whole weekend. People were going crazy, and they fully deserve it. Nervus are a band that you need to check out, and Em was absolutely incredible on this interview. I love her passion, and I love the way that this podcast actually turned into Robbie Williams cast. And if you ever question the dedication, she sat there and showed me in the flesh the amazing Robbie Williams tattoo. So never ever question that. Next up on the episode today, I have Jen and the Degenerates. Not an easy one to say, but an amazing band. They've recently toured with Skunk Anansie and are making huge names for themselves in the country. And on today's episode, I'm joined by Jen and Sean. So I think the best thing to do is to get to that interview. So here's me and Jen and Sean talking all things 2000 Trees. Welcome to the Mark and Me podcast. Both of you, how are you doing on this beautiful sunny day?
I'm great. I'm resisting heat stroke with every fibre of my being.
I'm just about starting to feel human again. I drank a bit too much last night, and the heat is...
It's not what you need after a big night on the drinks.
No, waking up in a tent that's about 900 degrees.
Oh my lord. And now we're outside and it's about 900 degrees as well.
It is. It's lovely though. Can't complain.
How are you feeling after 2 years of no gigging, no festivals, and now it's finally here? I had to pinch myself because I thought, is this going to happen after 2 years? I needed that release of just singing music again. So does it feel like you've been let off your leashes again and you can do what you enjoy best?
We've actually been back on the road for a little while because we did a big tour with Skunk Anansie in, was it March?
Yes.
So I think, this was the first time we've been at Trees though, and we're really loving this specific festival. This is great.
Yeah, we were really excited to do this, and having this be like the kind of, I guess, like the opening to our festival season. Really,
it feels like a big family. Like it's not ridiculously like Reading, where it's just huge, and it's not this tiny festival. It's just the right size, and everyone just seems really happy and just nice and friendly.
It feels like everyone loves it, like everyone is here, like whether they're working or they're punters or like everyone's just kind of just loves being here. It feels like a proper, like you say, family, community.
And you just mentioned you've been touring with Skunk Anansie, a band that have been going over 20 years, which blows my mind. Someone like Skin as a frontwoman to a band, do you take inspiration every night when you're on tour, watching, thinking, this is unbelievable, like this is a dream?
Oh yeah, absolutely, for sure, definitely. Just like taking notes, we learned so much from them, like on and off stage. Like I think that was almost the biggest step up, was we'd never been part of such a big operation before, so learning like that professionalism, but also, you know, having some fun as well on some of the nights. And yeah, they're really great people to learn from and hang out with, as well as being fucking awesome musicians. So
isn't it great when you meet someone and you really hope they're going to be nice because you've got so much respect for them, and then you meet them and they're lovely and you're like, phew, like I was worrying about this.
yeah, definitely.
Amazing. So tell me about the weekend so far. Is there other bands you try and see while you're here? Do you try and enjoy it as a festival, or are you like, okay, we'll play and then focus on other stuff?
No, we've been at as much as we can every day.
Exactly. Like, if we weren't playing, I probably would have come here this weekend anyway.
Amazing.
As a punter. So yeah, we've definitely been trying to catch like just as much stuff as possible. There's loads of people we want to see. So
and have you discovered any brand new bands that you're going to get home straight away and be like, I'm going to listen to all of their music?
I really liked Black Foxes. I'd never heard of them before, but they were sick. I really like them.
They were great. Yeah, Black Foxes were great. I mean, I'd sort of heard of Harriet before, but like hadn't properly like knew the hype. Like we just seen them this morning, and they were fucking great. They were really good. So yeah.
And you're looking forward to like the headliners, like Jimmy Eat World last night I thought were fucking incredible, but tonight we got Thrice. Is that sort of your band? Are you into watching these sort of bands?
Yeah, I love Thrice. Thrice, like both of those, like Jimmy Eat World and Thrice, is like my teenage years. So it feels like properly nostalgic.
A little time machine tonight.
Yeah,
go back and watch
it's
it.
Nice. It's like a couple of headliners that feel very nostalgic, and then a couple that are like, you know, Idols and Turnstile that are very brand new and sort of.
I can't wait to see Turnstile. I've never seen him live, so I'm looking forward to it. And were you guys nervous when you come here? Do you feel like you look at the poster and think, God, there's all these bands, I want to go there and prove ourselves? We've got this slot to hopefully find a whole new crowd that will hopefully then invest in time and come and see us again?
I don't know. I'm really weird about nerves. I only really get nervous when there's people I know.
Oh, so if there's like a family member in the crowd.
If I like my uncle or someone, like someone's in the crowd, then I get nervous. But if it's obviously you want to make a good impression, you know, you want to do a good job and put on a great show, but equally, you know, you might never see them again if they don't like you, so it's fine.
Like a group, like all five of us tend to get excited more than like giddy, more than nervous.
Yeah.
So, like really just like even the skunk tour when we were playing to like, you know, it's like, you know, 2,000 cap venues, and we were just like, you just get really amps and just like, I don't know. Yeah. More like, fuck it, let's just really go for it.
Warming up for Skunk Analysis is a great chance though, isn't it, to prove yourself, to come on and hope those people that got there a bit earlier might just leave with your t-shirt or a CD or a vinyl, and that's fucking great chance to try and just win some new fans.
Yeah, definitely. We actually sold out of merch on that tour, so could it, like,
you're doing something right.
I mean, I also think it's down to the fan base. I think they've like cultivated like a really amazing fan base of people who are interested in something a little bit different, because obviously they were kind of doing stuff differently from the off in a time where it wasn't as, you know, cool or whatever to be, you know, to have things like your identity be different from the norm. It was more of a thing against them, whereas now I think obviously we still experience oppression and stuff, but it can be a positive to be queer and stuff in terms of like how people view you as a cool band and whatever.
No, it's a really important message, and I think Skin for me has carried that kind of flag for 20 plus years.
Absolutely.
But now more people are getting behind it and taking note, and it's a really good time for that. Unless you're in America, fuck those guys, but you know.
Oh god, yeah.
So how's the rest of the year looking for you guys? Are you just absolutely manic now playing catch up?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's tour, then festival season, somewhere writing and recording in between all that when we have time. Then tour, our headline tour in autumn.
That's amazing.
Just pretty mad now.
You can't complain, can you, when you're busy? I mean, I know you said you were quite busy during the pandemic and after that, but there was still time when all these gigs weren't happening in festivals. So now it must feel like, let's play catch up. Let's just go and do as many shows as we can. Let's record when we can. I know you said that you're going to struggle in between all these festivals and gigs, but
off days.
So you've got new material ready to try and get down on some in some studios?
Yeah. Always.
Yeah, we're always writing new stuff. We've got some specific ones in mind, but the way it happens, sometimes you write something better in the meantime, and that ends up taking precedent. But yeah, we're always, as a band, everyone's always bringing stuff. We're always working on stuff. Writing's really key to, I think, our bond and our dynamic as a band.
And one thing I always ask every band that comes on this podcast is, have you got any advice that you'd give to anyone that's listening today that's trying to be in a band and get noticed? Because it's such a hard world to get seen. Streaming is more... It's just dominating everything. So you need to be in a band to be prepared to get out there and work hard. But have you got any advice that you'd give to listeners that might want to just kind of get noticed?
Yeah, absolutely. This is something I'm really passionate about because I think there's a lot of... like posturing and misinformation for young artists. It's definitely something we experienced when we started, and
There's a lot of bad advice out there.
a lot of bad advice. If you don't have a network to start with, it can be really difficult. I actually run weekly sessions on Zoom for people who want to like drop in and ask questions and get advice.
Oh, that's awesome.
So if people, that would be, I can give more in-depth advice there. If people want to head to Instagram, it's like a £3 charge just to like drop in and ask like literally anything.
And where can they find that? What?
It's via our Instagram at Jen's Degenerates.
Yep. That's amazing.
And just
so
drop
anyone
me a
can just
DM.
come in and just ask
Yeah.
those questions they've been eager to, ask.
We're also working on some cool stuff. Like Marshall is working on some cool stuff right now about that will hopefully be dropping in the next couple of years about like some free education headed up by Steph, who used to be in Gallows and is now in Lioness. Is that Steph's new band? I might got that wrong. So yeah, that's awesome. But I'd say the most general advice is at first, focus on growing your audience as much as you can. And then the people in the industry will come to you because you're proving your value.
Yeah.
So I'd say focus most on just increasing your audience, playing a bunch of shows, posting on social media, writing stuff and finding out who you are as a band and getting as many eyes on you as possible. And then like statistically, you're more likely to get the right eyes on you that way.
I love it. My final question, and this is a hard one, especially for people in bands. The outro piece of music to today's interview with us, you can choose the outro piece of music. It can be any band, any song, but there's two of you, so we might need to have a fight who wins. But what would be your perfect outro song? And I'm going to put you on the spot, and you need to tell me today.
No, you go.
You can both have a choice if you want, and then I'll
Okay,
surprise you on the
okay.
episode which one we go with. Is there a song that just means a hell of a lot to you? Some people like your song you'd have at your funeral, or a song that just means so much that is the perfect.
If we're going for like that, for like my favourite song of all time is All My Friends by LCD Sound System. So
That's a great choice.
I'll go with that.
Do you want to go with that and make it nice and
Sure,
simple? or have you got-
I'll just appease him. It's so hard to be me. No, I'm joking. Yeah, that sounds great. Great
Thank
tune.
you both for coming on. I hope that everyone that's listening today checks out your music and then goes and sees you on tour in the UK at was it the tail end of the year?
Yeah. It was starting up in September. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, guys.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So there's my interview with me and Jen and Sean from the amazing Jen and the Degenerates. That's not an easy one to say, and I really struggle with those ones. But hey, what a great couple of guests. Like I said, they've just come back off touring with Skunk Anansie. People are raving about this band, and I've just realised this is some of the best British bands I've got on today's episode. Boston Manor, Jen and the Degenerates, and the amazing Nervus, celebrating some of the best talent we have, and all of them were phenomenal. Next up, and the final interview today, is me and Mike from the amazing Boston Manor, one of Blackpool's finest bands, and honestly, the chemistry's great, and just another incredible band that there was a huge buzz for all weekend, and they did not disappoint. So here's me and Mike from Boston Manor talking all things 2000 Trees. First of all, welcome to Mark and Me podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
First of all, what I want to do for the listeners out there today is give them an idea of how you basically got into the bands that you are now and you listen to. So tell me about that first record you remember buying that basically made you fall in love with music.
Oh, that's actually an easy one. It was Conspiracy of One by The Offspring. And my introduction to rock music was seeing The Offspring perform on Top of the Pops, the Pretty Fly for a White Guy, which was such a big tune.
Yep.
And then... Yeah, it was. I think that was the next album they put out after Americana, and that was the one that I bought. And it had Original Prankster on it, and I was obsessed with it. I'd always flick through the little book and look at all the doodles and read the lyrics and stuff like that. And it was the only album I had as well, so it was like I got my money's worth out.
That's
of
the
that.
thing. I think at that age, people don't realise, but you'd buy the CD for £12, and even if it was shit, you'd have to justify you spent £12 of your pocket money. So you need to sit there, smell the inlay, read every lyric, listen to every track, and you'd be quite like. You wouldn't admit defeat. You'd be like, "It's great. I'm going to listen to it to death."
Oh man, yeah. There are so many terrible albums that I bought and tried to convince myself that I absolutely loved, And you know what? Some of them as well, like, actually did take a bit of work to get into. But once you understand it better, then you're just like, oh, okay, actually, this is a really great album,
Yeah. The thing is, as well, it changes when you see a band live. Can you remember that first gig you went to where you kind of felt like, oh my God, this isn't just a CD. This is I can feel the actual bass shaking my ribs. I can see this actual band in front of me playing these songs I'm so used to.
Yeah, probably my first gig, which was Korn. Actually, it was.
Oh wow!
It was Trust Company were opening, and they were like an unknown band, still virtually unknown, but they were actually a band that I saw live and immediately went and bought their CD. And I remembered the songs, hearing them back on the CD, straight after seeing them live one time. Phenomenal band, and then it was Puddle of Mud, and then it was Korn, and I just remember and this was 2002 as well, so it was like
20 years ago, man.
Yeah. And then I saw Korn at Leeds and Reading almost 20 years on from that. So
wow.
Yeah, like 15 years on from that.
Korn,
and they were still
Korn,
just as good.
They've still got it. Like Jonathan Davis on stage still gives it like it was 20 years ago. Freak on a Leash and all those tunes and Blind. They still hold up now. You listen to them and you think, this could have been recorded yesterday.
Yeah, definitely. And they still sound amazing live, and they still look good as well.
Yeah.
They've still got older rockers.
They haven't gone
great.
to that kind of Rolling Stones look where you're like, give up now, Jonathan. Yeah. Like, head, you're too old for this. You can't do any more. So then, I suppose, when did it come about that you thought to yourself, I can do this. I want to be in a band. I don't want to go and work in a supermarket or an office. I want to be in a band.
Well, it's interesting because my brother and I were in a band we were in different bands when we were a lot younger, and then we kind of just like became a little bit disillusioned with it, and we were just like, this is a hobby, and it's a little bit like trying to do this as a career isn't a feasible thing. So I went off and did my career. I worked in a hospital. I was a biomedical scientist for 6 or 7 years, and it was this new wave of bands like Balance and Composure, Turnover, The Story So Far, Sea Haven, all of that crop of bands that came up that were just like ordinary. It just seemed like ordinary people, very young ordinary people making music and actually making it like a viable career. And people and these labels were actually investing in them, like Run for Cover and Pure Noise Records, who we used to be signed to actually. And it was weird because we decided to give it another go, and everything naturally fell into place. And a lot of everyone in our band is from our area, and all were in bands that we all played together in back in the day. So we knew each other quite well, and I'd never met Henry before, but immediately when we met Henry, it was just like, because we met him through a friend of a friend, it was like we'd known each other for years.
That's
and
amazing.
we just got along. We loved all the same bands. We had the same kind of like ideologies and where we wanted to take the music and what we wanted to do. And it all came together. It was like, it was almost very strange how it came together, like 5 people in the kind of place that we live in as well.
It's
like-minded, very rare.
Yeah.
You don't find that in Blackpool.
But yeah, the fact that you came together and you formed this band, you all had the same kind of passion and love, I suppose, does it seem absolutely insane now that you're here at 2000 Trees? You look at the lineup poster and you're seeing bands like Thrice, who have been going in the game for 20 years.
Love Thrice.
My favourite band of all time.
Yeah.
Jimmy Eat World last night, and you're looking at the poster thinking, we're doing fucking good, guys. We're on the same poster and the same lineup as these guys.
Yeah, it is pretty nuts for sure. Like, because we're going on tour with Alexis on Fire as well in October, and these are all bands that we grew up listening to, and a lot of them have really have been quite an influence on our sound as well. But I think because it's been such a slow, steady grind to get here, sometimes it's hard to really notice, like, because it's not an immediate jump, you
No.
know. So we've been doing it over like a long period of time. You know, next year it'll be 10 years of Boston Manor from when we started. And yeah, it feels right. It feels like we're ready to be here. And this is actually the first festival that we ever played as a band, and it's the first festival I ever went to as you know,
That's
the
amazing,
first time I ever
man.
went to a festival
Yeah.
was we were playing it.
It's my first
So-
time here this weekend. I've done all the festivals, Reading, Download, all this, Glastonbury. But instantly, the moment I walked in, I felt like this is a family. This is one huge
Right.
family. The vibe is so different to any other festival. Just looking out now, the sun's out, but everybody, there's no attitude, there's no dickheads, there's no one being drunk and disorderly. Genuinely, everyone's here just to have a good time.
Yeah, this is my favourite festival in the UK,
Yeah.
like hands down.
It's
I absolutely
incredible.
love it. There's none of that. There's no egos. Everyone is literally here for the bands and the music. And yeah, it's a great attitude. I love this festival, man.
You just mentioned
great.
then as well, you're going on tour with Alexis on Fire. I'm not just saying this because you're sat here now. That new album, it's been a long time coming, is my album of the year.
Oh, it's so good, isn't
It's
it?
fucking incredible.
It's
I
so
saw them
good.
at Slam Dunk a couple of weeks ago, and I was just blown away. That hunger that band still have after all these years. That must be something you look up to. You've just done nearly 10 years. They've been going nearly double that, and they still
Yeah.
look like a band that have just done their first ever show.
Yeah, it looks like they still absolutely love what they do. And you know what, as well, they were one of those bands that, like, because we pride ourselves on the way that we perform live. You know, we always like
Yeah.
to give like an energetic performance. But yeah, we look to bands like that as well as inspiration for, you know, how to conduct yourself on stage. And you should, you know, like, you can just stand there and play your instruments and stuff, but when you look like you're having fun, everyone else wants to join in and have fun with
Do
you.
you know what? It's transparent as well. People don't realise this. I speak to a lot of bands every day. Bands don't realise, right? I went to see System of a Down. They came back on like
jealous.
a big tour, and they're amazing, but they just got through the motions. You knew they were like, oh, how long's left? Like 3 more songs. But the audience see it. You're just like a
Yeah.
puppet playing these songs. When you see a band like Alexis on Fire or Refused or, you know, Deftones, they give everything for a reason, and that's why they've been going 20 years. And like you said, if you go on stage and enjoy yourself, everyone in that crowd's going to enjoy themselves. Even if they don't know your band, they're going to be like, oh, I'm getting into this. It's amazing, man.
Or what have I been missing out on all of these years? Yeah, for sure. I saw Deftones for the first time since 2006, like a few weeks ago, and they were the best I've ever seen them. And they're all like a little bit older now, and I just think that they've really honed what they are as a band, and I really enjoyed watching them. They're one of my favourite bands of all time as well.
Did you see them at the London show, or was it a Download?
It was when we were away. I wonder if it was Download. It might have been Download, yeah.
They've got that hunger.
Yeah.
For some reason, it's like they've been going so many years. White Pony, for me, is one of the greatest albums ever put out there.
I fully agree. on
And
that one.
Chino, he just comes on stage, and I'm like, you must be getting on for like nearly 50. And he's like a 20-year-old again.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing, but there's a reason why bands like that keep going.
Yeah, definitely.
Is that who you kind of look up to and kind of think, if we are like Deftones in another 10 years, that's what our kind of goals?
That is actually, I think Deftones are the main template for us. We want longevity, and we've been through all of that real, you know, because we're still 5 original members, and we're all best friends as well, and we want to just keep making music that makes us feel excited. We want to make, I think that might be, you know, like one of the biggest struggles is you want to get bigger, so some bands may compromise on the kind of music that they want to make just to get there, and we want to try and have it both ways.
Yeah.
So that's where we struggle the most, is we want to write those bigger songs to progress, but we also want to write shit that gets us really excited and pumped to go on stage as well. So we want to keep doing that.
It's a real fine line, and we started today talking about Offspring. I've got nothing but respect for Offspring. Smash, for me, is an amazing album. Self-Esteem come out and play great songs. But they did the whole, let's write a pop song for radio, and it got them to where they need to be.
Yeah.
You don't look like a band that's ever going to write that song that's going to go, you know what I mean? You're not going to do it.
I don't think so, no. I mean, I do. That's what I do love about the Offspring, though, as well, because a lot of the pop and rock music in like the late 90s and early 2000s are a big inspiration for me. Maybe not quite so as crass as that kind of thing, but like I do enjoy listening to those songs and saying, wow, that's an amazing hook. Like, I can't believe they thought to put that in there. And I guess it makes me want to take more chances and want to take more risks with our music. Not in the not in that kind of
No.
way, but like in our own personal way as well. And I think that's kind of cool because you look at that and you're like, wow, that's a really cool hook.
It is.
You know, I guess
I
it's
still
not
know
cool,
it now,
but
15 years later, and it's still in my head. And it'll like Wheatus and bands like that. They have these hooks that stay in your head for fucking weeks.
Yeah.
For a reason. So it's a compliment. It's just I still can't get past that song. It's just too much for me. It's too much, and the music video and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And we're sat here now, 2000 trees. Did you think at one point this would never happen because of the 2 years of cancellations, the fact that COVID stopped basically you doing what you're best at and what you get up for every day and live and breathe? Was there a point where you were like, are we ever going to play a show again?
Oh, absolutely, definitely. Because I mean, no one knew what was going to happen, and it just felt like it was just going to go on forever. Even after 2020, and even 2021, there was like the new strains, and we were just like, I don't know if things are ever going to get back to normal. And then lo and behold, here we are, and everything seems completely fine again. I guess it
does seem like strangely normal. Like I look out and I see everyone having a great time, drinking, socializing. No one's wearing a mask, but everyone's happy just to be here again.
Yeah, and you know what as well, I've said this many times before, but that we actually, as bad as that year was, we actually really needed that year to reset and to rest, because we were really grinding hard. We were running ourselves into the ground. We were touring too much, always in the studio, always recording, and it actually forced us to take that break that we really needed.
Yeah.
So when we came back, it was like almost like a fresh start again, and also when you've had something like that taken away from you, it just gives you that little check just to say, don't ever take this for granted and stuff. Like we never really do, but it was that extra reminder,
I've
and
done about 12 interviews over the last couple of days, and the one thing I keep hearing is taken for granted, and it's true. You can get to that point where it probably feels a bit like robotic, like another gig tonight, let's do it, let's do the set list, let's do this. I suppose every gig you now do could be your last, so you've got that mentality of the last year of like, we need to really fucking embrace what we're doing because we don't want it taken away.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we try and live that way every day with this, and even if it's just to take a time, the time out to actually really appreciate where you are and who you're with, and I guess it's all about perspective as well, like especially if you've worked a job that you didn't quite like, or you've ever felt like miserable not liking where you're at in your life, having what we're doing now to compare it to that, it kind of really helps to have that perspective, especially sitting at home during 2020 and just feeling like a spare part.
Didn't that time drag as well? Like the longest year of everyone's life, like another day of this.
Yeah, that's all done. Well, I wouldn't say it's done, but like I feel like we're kind of getting over that. But I feel like there are some fresh new problems in the world now to be a bit wary of, and I'm not too sure I like where everything's going at the moment.
No, it's scary.
So I don't know, who knows, maybe live music's going to be threatened again by something. I don't know what it would be, but the world seems a little bit volatile.
I'm on edge.
And chaotic.
I always feel a bit on edge. Yeah, it's not good.
Especially like we're a little bit maybe like nervous to go back to America with a lot of these like shootings, and then they've announced that you can conceal carry a weapon, and America is kind of like it's our second home. It's the place that we play, probably the most. So that is a little bit nerve-wracking as well. Sorry to be a bit of a bummer and to be serious.
But it's honest and it's true. And you put the news on now. Sometimes maybe I'm wrong for it, but I try and avoid the news because I don't want to see how shit the world's going. And you can sit here and we can have a great time, have a beer, look out and see the sun, but it's also quite gloomy. And America just seems, and it's not a dig, it just seems fucked up at the moment about all the abortion laws, about the shootings.
Absolutely.
And it just feels like, are you ever going to get a fucking grip of reality and realize you can't treat people like this?
It's insane. I love America. I think it's an absolutely brilliant country, but they've got so many things wrong. And I feel like over the years as well, a lot of their problems have just been swept under the rug.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the BLM movement as well.
Massive.
It's just like, you've just been sweeping all of these problems and issues under the rug this whole time. And here it's come out now in full force. This is what you need. It needs a wake-up call.
It does.
But yeah,
it's not a good time, but the good times are that we are here. We are at 2000 trees. The festival lineup for me is one of the best out there. I keep looking at the poster and thinking like it's one of those dream lineups. It's insane.
Yeah, I almost thought it was I looked at the poster last night actually. I was just like, I just want to double check, and it looks a little bit made up.
It does.
It's like, it's someone's just made
insane.
their dream lineup. Yeah.
Are you looking forward to seeing Thrice's set tonight as a headline? I think they work so hard. I've never seen a band evolve like them, apart from someone like Radiohead or the Beatles, but I put them up there with that, and I think they're going to be incredible.
Oh, unfortunately, we have to get home, so we're gonna. I've seen Thrice a couple of times before, and I absolutely love them, but we have a long journey back, and
that's fair.
yeah, we're trying to get home tonight. So I think we'll watch a bit of Turnstile, hopefully, and then we'll get out of here. But it's unfortunate because they're one of my favourite bands.
My final question today, and what I do on this podcast to make it as original as I can, is I ask the guest that comes on the podcast to pick the final song that's played. It can be a song by any band out there in the world, or a piece of music that you love that's personal to you. So imagine this is all edited, it's all done.
Yeah.
What's a song by any band that I'm putting you on the spot that comes to your heart and your head when I ask the question to be the perfect outro song today that means a lot to you personally? It's pressure. I'm not going to lie.
I think it's called "We're in This Together" by Nine Inch Nails off the Fragile album.
Incredible choice.
Yeah.
They've just recently played, and I keep seeing footage of their live concerts. I'm like, why did I not get a ticket? I'm an idiot.
I know, yeah. I've missed them every single opportunity we've had. Like, we've always missed them when we've been touring. They've been playing the same festivals and stuff, but hoping to see them at Riot Fest. We're playing Riot Fest in Chicago in September. Hoping to see them there.
That lineup again. Oh
yeah,
my God,
I
man.
know, it's crazy.
Thank you so much for coming on, dude, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
So there's my interview with me and Mike from the amazing Boston Manor. As I said at the start of the interview, I'm a huge fan of Boston Manor. They were one of the bands that I couldn't wait to see at the festival, and people were talking about it all weekend. There was this huge buzz on site, and they did not disappoint in any way. A huge band that you need to check out, and they're just going to get bigger and better as time goes on. Mike was so down to earth and one of the best guests I've had on Mark and Me, and I'm so grateful for him coming on. I'm actually so grateful for all the bands that have taken part in these specials, and I've had the time of my life recording them, and it isn't over yet because there's one more to come. As I said at the start of these specials, this was my first time of attending 2000 Trees, and from the moment I got there I felt this huge welcome. It was so good. The sun was shining the whole weekend, and for me it's now my favourite festival in the country. Do not miss out because the 2023 tickets are now on sale, and honestly, everything about this festival is just unbelievable. If you've enjoyed today's episodes, and thank you so much for listening, all I ask in return is to jump on markandme.com and share the episode. It costs you guys absolutely nothing at home to do this. It's literally the click of a button. Go on Facebook and post it as an update or share the episode. Go on Twitter and retweet it, or go on Instagram and put it on your stories, or just give me a comment. Just doing that can go really far for Mark and Me and make a huge difference. I think some people don't realise just how much of an impact it can have. If you retweet this, all those people that follow you will then see this. They might see this band and think, oh, I recognise Boston Manor or Nervus, and then go and listen to this episode. And that's huge for me, and it's completely free marketing. I don't make money off this podcast, and I'm a one-man team, so it really does go a long way. And if you've really enjoyed today's episode, I do have a Patreon account. On there you can support the podcast each and every month, which provides me a chance to go out there and record more interviews for you guys at home. All I ask, and I think it's about £1 a month, this will guarantee you 2 episodes each and every week. A welcome pack which includes some incredible limited edition stickers and a pin badge, and so much more. And soon I'm going to be introducing some Patreon only interviews just for you guys to say thanks for supporting me. I'll be back with a brand new episode, and it's the 4th and final part of my specials for 2000 Trees tomorrow. It's been a hectic week, but I've had nothing but excitement and just overall I've been completely overwhelmed, if I'm honest, by the support. I'm seeing all the bands retweeting it, sharing it, telling me it's some of the best work they've done, and it really does mean a lot. So thanks to everyone that's listened and taken part till now, and I haven't quite finished. So until the new interview drops tomorrow, please take care, look after yourself, and I'll speak to you all very soon.